Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. My name is Ross Benjamin of rbwins.com. It is Wednesday, January the 4th. It's our NFL betting edition. And like every Wednesday, I'm joined by Mr. Al McMorty. Al, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Yeah, I can't even speak. Happy New Year to you, Ross.
Easy for you to say. Anyway,
Right.
we're going to be covering two NFL games that will be played on Saturday. The only two games on the board on Saturday. Al will be looking at that huge AFC showdown between Tennessee and Jacksonville. It goes at 8:15 Eastern. That game will decide who wins the AFC South. And boy, oh boy, it's a pretty sad story when you got two teams that are 8-8 going into the regular season finale, and they're playing for a division championship. And I'm going to be looking at the Chiefs and the Raiders, which will be the earlier game at 4:00. Before we get to that, Al, tell the folks how you've been doing of late and what you may have coming up on the horizon.
Define late. the last several years, great. The last 2 days, awful. So
Well, that happens. I mean,
I was so I was 0-3 yesterday. So
okay, but the NFL, you're still on the cusp of another winning season, correct?
Yeah, I think the record was like 52-36 or something like that in the NFL. I haven't looked at it lately, but it's going to be the 11th straight winning year in the NFL. So no complaints there. We won our 5-star college football game of the year on Ohio State. And that was actually the biggest sales, the most sales I've gotten for a single pick in over 30 years of being in the business. So that was really rewarding to and also have an easy winner like that too, a rocking chair winner. So that was fun.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just, after that game Monday, I'm just kind of like a little bit, down. I haven't seen how the kid's doing today. I don't know if you've seen.
Yeah, they said his condition is improving.
Oh, that's good news.
Yeah, his vitals are all normal. They were yesterday, but his condition is improving to the point where instead of him needing 100% oxygen, he's only needing 50% of the amount that they were giving him before. Again, they're not releasing a lot of info per the family's privacy. But the only report I got here locally, which is we're going to be up to speed more than anybody. I'm here in Western New York, is that his condition is improving, but he still remains in critical condition. Just an absolutely horrific scene, Al.
Yeah. No, I know. It just that whole thing kind of just threw me for a loop. So I've been kind of down the last few days, to be honest with you. It's just
I mean, it's affected all of us in some way, shape, or form. Not only as sports fans, but as human beings, more importantly. I can honestly say, and I'm sure you're going to say the same thing, we've never seen anything close to something like that happening in a college football or NFL game. Now, I'm sure it's happened at some level of play. According to the doctors, it's one of those situations where he took a blunt force to the chest, and it was like a perfect storm. The algorithm of his heartbeat compounded with that blunt force to the chest created a cardiac arrest. But Al, when it first happened, I saw the kid get up and he took one step. He was adjusting his helmet, and then he started staggering and then fell down. It reminded me of a boxer that was trying to get up from a knockdown and lost all his cognitive.
right.
We've seen so many head injuries over the last few years that that's what I thought it was. I mean, it's just a terrible thing. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to positive things. And the NFL will play this week, week 18. By the way, folks, I'm coming off a bowl season, which I went 12-4-1. Pretty darn good. I'm pretty happy with that. And I had my college football bowl game of the year on Saturday, and brilliant minds must think alike because I had Ohio State. And,
you did?
Right. Absolutely. So, I would have thought that, they could have won that game outright, but I'm not going to get greedy. A winner's a winner is a winner. and also had the TCU game over the total. So it's been a great bowl season. It was a great college football playoff, and I'm looking forward to winning the national championship game as well. All right, let's get in. By the way, folks, since December 26th, 18-9 in all sports on every site I'm on. So it's a 67% run. And you can find me at rbwins.com. You can find me at Al's affiliate site, pickadvisor.com. By the way, you can find Al at bigal.com. It doesn't get any easier than that, folks. Not only Al, but 20 other great handicappers that do a fantastic job. And Al's site is very comprehensive, keeps you up to speed, and is always erring on the side of transparency. As you just heard Al said, I had a bad day yesterday. I went 0-3. You know, we beat on our chest when we win, but we're also honest when we lose. So again, that's bigal.com, and you can find me again at rbwins.com. All right, Al, let's get to the free pick. Tennessee and Jacksonville game will be played in Jacksonville, 8:15 p.m. Eastern time right now. Jacksonville 6.5, and the total is 40.
Yeah, you know, Jacksonville took the first meeting 36-22. I had a huge play on Jacksonville in that game. So when they pulled off that upset, it didn't really surprise me. For this game here, I'm not going to look at the side. Instead, I'm going to look at the total. And I see another high-scoring game here on Saturday. And, you know, the Titans are off that straight-up and against the spread loss to Dallas. They lost 27-13 as a 13.5-point underdog, so they failed to cover by half point. The Titans have now gone over the total 55 out of 90 if they were off a point spread defeat in the previous game. I've got a few other systems on this game that point toward it being high scoring, and that's the way I'm going to look. I'm going to take it over the total of 40.
So Jacksonville and Tennessee over the total of 40, and that's from Big Al McMorty. And that game goes again, folks, on Saturday evening at 8:15 p.m. Eastern time. Before I get to my NFL pick, one friendly reminder as well that I failed to mention: 3-1 Sunday in the NFL for me at rbwins.com and every other site I'm on, including my 10-star top play winner on Green Bay, which was absolutely stealing, as they won the game 41-17, and that score wasn't even as close as it might indicate. So, did you have Green Bay as well? I'm waiting for
that. Was actually, I only had one side selection on the NFL, the entire NFL week. My only side selection was on Green Bay.
There you go. Again, folks.
Great minds think alike.
Right? Brilliant minds think alike. All right, let's get to my free play in the Kansas City and Las Vegas game. I'm going to look at the total here, which is high 52.5, but it's high for a reason. I mean, look, I'm going to rattle off some numbers at you real quick, and it's all going to add up to me being a high-scoring affair. Since 2020, these teams have met 5 times. All 5 of those games have gone over the total with an average combined score of 61.6 points per game. Also, since 2020, the Las Vegas Raiders have gone 17-6-1 to the over at home, and that includes 6-0-1 to the over if there was a total of 51.5 or greater. So when these Raiders home games are in the high parameter in the 50s, they usually live up to what the odds makers high total says. Kansas City has scored 28 points or more in their last 9 against Las Vegas. There's nothing that indicates to me that that's going to change in any way, shape, or form. It's not like the Raiders have a tremendous defense. In Kansas City, number 1 in total offense, number 1 in scoring. Also, since 2020, the Kansas City Chiefs have played over the total in all 6 of their games in which they were a road favorite of 7 or greater. Right now, they're at 7.5. Those 6 games average a combined 61 points per game. Vegas is coming off a 37-34 home loss to San Francisco. What was most shocking about that result, folks, is the fact that Jarrett Stidham, their backup quarterback, took the reins in a highly controversial move in Las Vegas. And he performed awfully well. He threw for 334 yards. And the Vegas Raiders racked up 500 yards of total offense against a defense, arguably the best in football. And the statistics will bear that out, as they're number 2 in total defense and number 1 in scoring defense. Yet the Vegas Raiders were able to put together a very explosive offensive performance. I'm going to go over the total here, Al. I'm going to go Kansas City and Las Vegas over the total of 52.5. Any thoughts?
Well, on that particular game,
yeah,
yeesh.
It's okay if you
I
disagree.
I like the under. Is
Okay.
what I like. So,
Yeah.
it's just, I just look at it differently. I look at it like, Stidham had that great game, and I think a lot of people would look at that game and think that the Raiders will thus be able to score as they did, this week against the Chiefs, because obviously the Chiefs don't have the defense that the 49ers. But the first, I just like the under. I think,
well, I mean,
for me, the Chiefs. This is the difference between possibly being the number 1 seed and possibly being the number 3 seed. I just think, this is like a playoff game for the Chiefs. So, I just think the Chiefs smash them, and Raiders don't score very much. But that's just my opinion.
Well, and again, I ran some systems on this, and we used the same database, and most of them pointed to when you get into this over and under parameter. Being 50 and above, most of them put the systems that I ran, most pointed to the under. So I can understand why exactly, especially if you're looking at a team playing in their last game like the Raiders, or a team playing in their last home game like the Raiders, and they're coming off a game in which they scored 34 or more and gave up 34 or more. There's all different combinations I use that all pointed to the under. So I know it sounds like an oxymoron, but I'm just, to me, I'm looking at the raw statistics here, and I'm not banking on Jarrett Stidham throwing for 330 yards again. I just think the Raiders, I can't see the Raiders holding Kansas City to less than 35 points. And I just think the Raiders will do their due share. But we'll see what happens, Al, because brilliant minds do think alike. But sometimes they don't.
But the reality is this play is not going to make my, like, I'm not giving it's going to be nowhere near my service. So yes, like with the gun to my head, I like the under in the game. But I don't like it enough to give it out. So
and again, I'm giving it out as a free play, folks. This will not be on my pay card. Okay. And again, I know a lot of you out there get a little perturbed when we say that. That's not to say that we do not want to win these free picks, because if you go over the archives of our videos, we do pretty damn well. There's streaks where we don't do well, and there's more streaks that we do very well. So
again, I do a podcast where I give out a side or a total on every single game of the NFL season, all 16 or whatever, 17, whatever. And for the season, my record's 144 and 104 with 6 pushes. So they're free plays, and they're games that I'm not necessarily going to give to my customers, but that doesn't mean you still don't try to win them.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's like going to a restaurant. If you put out good hors d'oeuvres, there's a good chance that let me put it this way. There's a high probability that you might get some of these people to try you out for entrees and spend some money. Well, the same concept happens here. And you know what, folks? I know a lot of you out there will say, well, you guys lost yesterday. How come you didn't tell us about that on the free pick videos? And Mike, look, bottom line, we just did, right? Number one, especially with the pay picks. And number two, I mean, if you get food poisoning at a restaurant, you don't go to that restaurant the next day and see a sign. We did have a customer who had food poisoning, and still, come on in. Today will change, So there's a fine line between transparency and stupidity, is what I'm trying to say. Anyway,
I don't know. I mean, my belief in all of it is, like at my website, we've got a yesterday's results page, publish every single pick that every handicapper releases. I believe in full transparency, and at the website, everyone says how they did the day before. If they go 1-6, they say they went 1-6. Hopefully the good outweighs the bad. I look back, over, like I'm 1,805 wins and 1,435 losses, my last 3,240. So, but within that 3,240 games, there's a lot of
hot
losing
streaks and there's losing streaks. Yes. And again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't be transparent because I always am. But with these free picks, sometimes, folks, you got to understand I'm hosting 7 of these shows a week. I'm also on other podcasts on other channels. And sometimes it's just a slip of the mind. It really is. I will tell you, there's just as many times when I win on a free pick video that I don't mention it. Yesterday, I had the Marquette and St. John's game over the total on this channel. They produced 170 points. So again, I failed to mention that, but Al makes a good point. The difference is with our pay selections, there's not one site that I'm on. I can't speak for Al, but I'm pretty sure he's going to say the same thing, that yesterday's selections and who's hot for the week and all that kind of stuff, it's all right there for you to see. So every time we put out a pick, it's documented, and most of the sites will even show you what the pick is after the game starts. So right after the game starts. So in any event, you're not going to get any more transparent handicappers than you do on this channel right here. Al, any final words before I leave you?
No, I mean, I just looking forward to the playoffs. I don't know what they're going to look like next week. I don't even know if you know, do you think the NFL just cancels that game completely?
I think when I was asked about this, my thought was this, and I don't know how much sense it makes. I think it makes sense. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are, because I know you will always tell me the truth and not pacify me. And that's a good thing. But my thought was when I was asked this on Monday, and being close to the situation in Western New York, was I think they're just going to let week 18 play out. And why I say that is because if Kansas City loses that game, I don't know. It might be a moot point, because Buffalo then would, if they beat New England and Kansas City loses.
My thought, I think there's really two options. One option is it's a tie game, and that means obviously that Cincinnati's probably going to be in the 3rd seed, Buffalo probably in the 2 seed, and Kansas City probably in the 1 seed. The other way to do it is you just play the game the following week, and you just move the wild card weekend back 1 week, and you don't have a bye week before. You don't have a bye week before the Super Bowl. That was my second part of the equation. I mean, you could do it. It's just, I guess it comes down to how much Cincinnati and Buffalo want to do it, right? Like if they say, let's do it, then they probably could twist the NFL's arm. And if they say, we're not interested in doing it, then the NFL will probably just say, okay.
Well, Cincinnati, I mean, if Kansas City wins, Cincinnati would have nothing. I mean, really.
No, it's really a Buffalo thing. Buffalo would, I mean, does Buffalo want the right to try to earn the number 1 seed?
Yeah. And you know what? I take that back, because if they did play that game, not only is Buffalo given the opportunity to be the number 1 seed, Cincinnati wins that game, they're the number 2 seed.
Exactly. So, no. I mean, like Buffalo could just kind of split the difference, say we're happy with number 2 seed.
Yeah.
I mean, there's reasons for both teams to want to play the game, possibly, but who knows if they will. I mean, it's
let me tell you one thing. From being in the Western New York, in the media and all that kind of stuff, I hear all these things. There's one thing that their goal was at the beginning of the year, meaning the Bills, get the number 1 seed and don't get eliminated at Kansas City. Okay. Right. So, I mean, that's been a big thing. We had that horrific ending last year, if you're a Buffalo fan anyway, where 13 seconds ago, Mahomes takes him down the field. So, I mean, I think the home field, if given the choice, I don't see the NFL given the choice. I think the NFL will just stand up and say, this is what we're going to do. But I just think here's my thought too, and I want to hear yours as well. I think the NFL really had a PR blunder when it came to that injury. Number one, telling the players after this guy gets wheeled off, and I'm watching him, watching Damar Hamlin, being given CPR and life-saving medical procedures, that they told him they had to be out there in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I think the NFL has a low bar anyway. I mean, this is par for the course for the NFL. So, is anyone shocked? No.
No. And if it was up to them, they would have played 5 minutes later. I've heard nothing to the contrary. The players are the ones and the coaches are the ones that stood united and said, we're not going to do this. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, you figure it out from here,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, the NFL, it is what it is, as they say.
Yeah. Well, my point is that was a PR blunder, what they did, and how they proceeded. Then they took over an hour to cancel the game, which I guess you could, in their defense, say, okay, maybe they didn't want people filing out of the stadium right away because we wanted a clear path for the ambulance. I don't know. But the ambulance was gone for quite a long time before they even canceled the game.
Yeah.
So it's, who knows? The NFL, again, they're big business. There's no two ways about it, but there's a fine line between big business and making sound decisions and being insensitive. And I think they crossed that border, and I think they're going to be very careful not to do that again as it applies to the situation. Is that fair?
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to err on the side of being humane.
Yeah, exactly.
But honestly, I mean, at this point, he's being taken care of in the hospital, all of that stuff. I mean, at this point, it really comes down to, I think it really comes down to what the teams want. Like, is there a hunger of the teams to try to earn what they fought the whole season to earn?
And I would think the answer is yes. And I can't believe it would be otherwise. I really don't, Al. I can't see.
So I think if there's a will, I think there's a way to do it, right? I mean, I think that would be like, look, we're going to play the game, and we're going to play it on,
we're going to play it on Saturday, next Saturday, and we're going to continue where it left off. And how we're going to compensate for that is we're going to start the wild card weekend the following week, and there's going to be no week off between the conference championship games. I think
most sports fans would be happy with that.
Yeah, and I think that's the most sound decision. You know what I mean? It's a decision that makes the most sense. Now, having said that, if Kansas City by chance loses that game on Saturday, it might come down to just what Cincinnati wants to do. Because if Buffalo wins and Kansas City loses, Buffalo's the number 1 seed. I don't know. I mean, could Cincinnati get to? I don't think they can get to number 2 if Kansas City loses. So again, we'll see how it plays out, Al. But in any event, it's a discussion I wish we didn't have to have based on why it happened. All right. So L McMorty, BigL.com. Don't forget, folks, not only L, but 20 other great handicappers there. Also, check out his affiliate site, pickadvisor.com. If you go there, you'll see I'm number 3 over the last 7 days at the site in terms of units earned. You could find me at rbwins.com. Until the next time, which will be next Wednesday with Big Al. And tomorrow we'll be back with Doug Upstone from DocSports.com, talking some more NFL. Until the next time, folks, good luck, God bless, and take care.